Entrepreneurship is gaining importance today because really of three complementary reasons. The first reason is technological change. There's rapid pace of change in digital technology, of which Gen AI is, of course, the latest avatar, that's enabling the creation of new business opportunities. So you have a whole bunch of digital startups pursuing opportunities that are challenging the status quo in very diverse range of industries, starting from very mundane agriculture to retail, to automobile, fintech, hotels, music and media and so forth. In addition, there's new technologies related to decarbonization that is also driving new opportunities in legacy industries to make them sustainable environmentally. The second big reason is the changing economics of pursuing an entrepreneurial idea. There's been a significant reduction in the time and cost of figuring out whether a new entrepreneurial idea can actually lead to a viable business. So today, an entrepreneur can cheaply rent compute power, build apps with no-code tools, rely on startup accelerators to supply external expertise and mentoring, and then try out whether their idea has any market traction with relatively small amount of pre-seed capital. Somewhere in the region of $50,000 to $100,000 is now sufficient to take a serious shot at implementing a venture idea and understand whether it has market traction or not. The third reason is the favorable cultural mindset amongst millennials and Gen Zs around entrepreneurship. It's relatively common today to see young people quit pretty secure jobs in prestigious companies to launch a new business of their own. The fact that more young people today view launching a business of their own as a viable alternative to a regular cookie-cutter corporate job is an important change, because one of the biggest predictors of entrepreneurship is social proximity to others who have done this before. So we are more likely to embark on an entrepreneurial venture if we know people in our network that are entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is not just about launching a new business right after graduation. At INSEAD, we have a much broader conception of entrepreneurship. We view it as a way of managing one's career to hit the ground running in building a business organization around a novel opportunity. So an entrepreneurial career is more than just launching a standalone new venture. Indeed, there are quite a few ways to be entrepreneurial, such as acquiring an existing small business and rejuvenating it, joining a fast-growing new venture as a CXO and scaling it to the next level, building an innovative social enterprise, renewing a family business as a next-gen scion of the founding family, building a new business inside an existing organization, and so forth. At INSEAD, our curriculum and activities are designed in a way that endows our students with a broad set of tools to build an entrepreneurial career, focused on innovation, business building in a variety of different contexts. So the right time to start a business is really a judgment that an aspiring entrepreneur needs to make carefully. For a few, the right time to try their hand at launching a new business may be right after graduation from college. But more often, the right time might be after working for a few years, once they've identified a promising new opportunity that they discovered through their personal or professional experience. Building a growth venture is like whitewater rafting or mountain climbing. You never know what comes next, and you work as a team to get out of sticky situations. So naturally, when one embarks on an adventure like that, you need to have the right team. So what features do you need to look for in potential co-founders while building your team? To start off, it is crucial that your co-founders' skills and expertise areas are complementary to your own, and your respective skills and expertise areas are relevant to the venture idea that you're jointly pursuing. In addition, it would be great to also have complementary social capital, so you and your co-founders are connected to different other people. While complementary skills and social capital matter, it is good to remind ourselves that the entrepreneurial journey is fraught with uncertainty. When times are tough and there is no light at the end of the tunnel, the founding teams that persist and are thus likely to survive are the ones with shared values. So it's crucial that your co-founders are as passionate as you are about the opportunity or the dream that you're pursuing, that your co-founders share with you the same convictions about what your venture stands for and how you build it. So these shared values allow a founding team to build that chemistry and trust that's needed to survive tough times. You have to ask yourself, can I survive being in the same room together with this person for 72 hours at a stretch to handle a crisis without biting his or her head off. Because if there is one thing we know for sure about building a growth venture, a crisis that requires such long hours at work may be lurking around the corner just when you least expect it. There are two systematic ways to finding co-founders. The first one is to leverage the power of your network, which means you got to examine your personal network and identify those contacts that operate in a social world that's different from your own. So think of folks whose industry, functional area, type of organization, location, rank, or age is different from your own. Those contacts are much more likely to be good sources of information about the potential co-founder that you're looking for. The second way is to leverage the power of institutions. So the educational or work organization you went to are often an important place to meet potential co-founders. Perhaps more important today are co-founder talent curating platforms like Entrepreneur First or Antler and so forth, where you can meet diverse others who are also interested in founding a startup. Finally, attending events that reflect your passions and interests, it could be around technologies, around markets, around customer problems and so forth, is another great way to meet similar others who have shared interests and who might be interested in co-founding as well. Given that it's difficult to find the perfect co-founder who matches on every criteria, it's often better to run with a good enough match and execute a founder's agreement or a shareholder agreement to govern the principles of the relationship that you're building. Entrepreneurship involves pursuing novel ideas and activities and is therefore risky and uncertain. More novel venture ideas usually have a higher growth potential, although they face a greater risk and uncertainty. Startups can be arranged on a continuum ranging from low growth potential ventures, example the next corner store, which usually involves much less novelty and much less growth potential, to high growth potential startups, for example the next Google, which typically have a lot more novelty. So what can you do to improve the odds of success when you're building a high growth potential venture? Well, the short answer is pretty straightforward. Spot good opportunities and execute them really well. Which then means the deeper question is really to figure out, how do I spot good opportunities and what might executing well really mean? So this is where your personal networks matter a great deal. Contrary to the myth of the solitary genius, great venture ideas seldom come from brainstorming alone in a closed room. Rather, great opportunities arise when the entrepreneur interacts with a diverse group of knowledgeable people and recombines ideas from different sources. While there is no magic formula to generate a creative insight, it is possible to position yourself so you continually encounter a stream of interesting venture ideas. The key is to have an appropriately configured professional network and stay alert to the problems and possible solutions that your network contacts grapple with as users of products and services. So our natural tendency, however, is to hang out with people who are like us, pretty much like how birds of a feather flock together. When your professional network consists predominantly of people like yourself, you tend to hear the same stories, the same information keeps recirculating, and you fool yourself into believing that what you're learning about the external environment is consistent, when actually it only appears that way because you're reaching out to a very narrow range of information sources. So difficult as it sounds, building relationships with people who aren't like you makes it more likely that you spot problems that can be solved profitably in novel ways. So look for people who are different in terms of age, expertise in terms of industries and functional areas, social communities, geographic locations, different positions in the supply chain, such as vendors, partners, and customers. In short, to spot novel opportunity, you need to build strong ties to diverse people and use it to find and innovatively solve thorny user problems. You have to be mindful of how you expand your own network, which means you got to be mindful of your networking style. Recent research suggests that entrepreneurs' networking strategy and networking style varies along two key dimensions: broadening and deepening actions. Some entrepreneurs are good at network broadening actions. They typically reach out to a lot of new people. They find out a lot about the new people they meet and what are the possibilities to collaborate because they're interested in establishing a relationship. Other entrepreneurs often build their network through network deepening actions. Entrepreneurs that score high on deepening actions typically are very good at converting professional relationships to personal relationships. They make it a point to stay in touch with their contacts periodically, whether or not there's anything specific. And also, they rarely, if ever, cull relationships intentionally just because there's no immediate payoff in that relationship. There's no right way to expand your network. Rather, try to match the approach, broadening or deepening, with what feels more authentic and natural for you. So remember, overall, your personal networks are a foundational resource for you as you go about building a new venture.